This is Michael Mahana. I am the instructor for your class. I wanted to drop by and give you some information on doing the graphing project. I don't think anybody should suffer inadvertent anxiety because they don't know how to use Excel. That isn't really what the class is about. So for the Excel projects, I will try and drop in and give you some information about how to create those in as easy a way possible. For those of you who would like to figure this stuff out for yourself, certainly you are welcome to try and do that. But if you send me a message and say, hey, how do you do this? I'm going to say, well, check the tutorial first. And then after you check the tutorial, if there's still questions you have, then you can contact me and ask me specific questions. It's just way easier for me to try and give you the information in the tutorial because I can expand on it than to try and answer in an email. And it's easier for you because you can see how we're doing things. So for this first graphing project, as you can see, the prompt is to create a pie chart for race and create a histogram for age with a bin for each year based on the minimum and maximum data. This is an area where people get mixed up, is this bin for every year. When I write you back and say, oh, you need to have the bin set to 1, and then you say, oh, I don't know what that means. So we're going to go through that and you will understand what we are talking about. So we're going to our data. I think you guys have, this is obviously my data, which is the answer key, but I think that your guys' data is presented in this way. And what you will see is that you have a bin for race and a bin for age. And right now you don't really need to know what that means, but we are going to talk about what that means in just a second. So if we're going to create a pie chart for race, then what we need is to get our information in what is called a distribution table or a frequency table. So we have our race bins, which are 1, 2, 3. Now, if you use these bins, what you're going to get are answers with 1, 2, 3. So we're going to do a little bit something different for our pie chart. We're going to go right over here. We're going to click. It doesn't matter where you click, but we're just clicking here. And as you can see, this is M3. So this box is M3. So that's the nomenclature for where things appear in the spreadsheet. So this box right here is J2. So J2 is this box. And actually, if we click on it, what we'll get is it highlighted. So you get J and 2 highlighted. So if we go back over here and we see M and 3 is highlighted, this is M3. Now, the reason that that's important is because if I go down here to the end of the table, this is where the table ends. And if I'm going around and I say, oh, I've got a box right here, I don't know what that box is. And if I try and look over, maybe I get that right, maybe I don't, because when I'm coming over here, if I don't track this really carefully, then I'm not sure where I'm going to end up. But because I've got the L and the 97 highlighted, I know that this box that I just clicked on is L97. So that just helps you to know where you are on the spreadsheet. So let's go back to talking about our pie chart. So we need to have a pie chart for race, and that means that we need to have the distribution of race set up. So I have these bins for 1, 2, and 3, but I don't like that because I'm going to get on the legend of my pie chart, I'm going to get 1, 2, and 3, and that's not going to tell me anything. What I need to know are the race identifications. And so what I know is, I don't know if the box has it set up. We should get labels here, but we're not getting those. So what I do know is that 1 is white, 2 is black, and 3 is other. So what I'm going to do is come over here to my M2 slot, and I'm going to type white. Under that, in the M3 spot, I'm sorry, white is in M3, I'm in M4 now. I'm going to type black, and in M5, so see I'm in M5, this box is M5, I'm going to type other. So now what I need is to know what is the frequency of each of these. So how many ones are there, which is going to tell me how many respondents were white. How many twos are there, which tells me how many respondents are black, and how many threes are there, which tells me how many respondents are other. Now, the easiest way to do that is to count them. So I have race here, and so what you would want to do is count all the twos, count all the threes, count all the ones. Okay, my problem is that if I want to count these, I need to count all the ones, I need to count all the twos, I need to count all the threes. That's going to be really hard because I've got a two, then I've got several ones, then I've got a three, some more ones. So I don't want to have to do that and just pick them out. I'm going to lose track and I'm never going to get the right count. So what I want to do is click one of the boxes in this column. So in this column of C, I'm just going to click one of these boxes. I'm going to go up here to this data tab, and right here where it says sort, if I hit this, which is sort smallest to largest, click that button, and bam, now what I have are all of my ones grouped and all of my twos grouped and all of my threes grouped. So that's going to be a whole lot easier for me to be able to then figure out how many ones I have, how many twos I have, and how many threes I have. So what I would encourage you to do is to do the work yourself, but I actually know the answers to these questions, and so I am going to, for the sake of time, type in the data, and I know that I have 77 ones, so I'm going to type 77 in next to white. I also know that I have 14 twos and I have 9 threes. So now I have a frequency table. So this is going to make it really, really easy for me to create a chart with this. I'm just going to select all of this data. So I have all of this data selected, and I'm going to go up here to where it says Insert, click on Insert, and now I have a bunch of things here for charts. So I'm going to find this thing that looks like a circle, and it says Insert a pie or donut chart. I'm going to click this down button. And so these are the different kinds of charts that you can make. We're just making a simple pie chart. So if I click that, boom, here is my pie chart. I'm going to move that over here so that I can see my other data. And as you can see, I have my labels correct, white, black, and other, so that I can see that I have the largest percentage is white, then black, and then other. And I can do some other things. I can play around with some of the labels. You can change some information here, like on these data labels. I can click that so that I get numeric values that are in the chart, which is good. Sometimes you can also go down here to a data call out, and I can get these things popped out to the outside where it actually gives me percentages, which can also sometimes be a good thing that you might want. So let's go back and do our unclick that. So we've got our just regular chart with the numbers on it, and this is the output for question number 1, which is about the pie chart. Okay, starting with a clean worksheet. So we're going back and starting from just the data. We have to create a histogram for age. So these are our bins, and this is our age data. So the column of F is our age data, and K are our age bins. So what I'm going to do is go up here to data, click on that data tab, and that did not change there we go. And over here on the very right hand side of the ribbon, I have data analysis. Now this is where you loaded that data analysis tool pack. If you didn't load the data analysis tool pack, you won't have this data analysis button here. And so you won't have the tests when I click on that, that's going to give me the histogram that I want to be able to make this graph. So if you didn't load the data analysis tool pack yet, if you don't have this data analysis tool pack, go back and reread the announcement for week 1, load that data analysis tool pack. If you have questions about that, you can obviously reach out and let me know. All right, so I need my input range. This is my data range. So my bin range are my age bins. My input range is my data. So this is my data. So if I click this up arrow and I click this button right here, or this cell right here, you see I'm on F2 and it filled in F2. Well, that's not all of my data. And so I can drag this down to get more data, or because I'd have to drag that down all the way to the end of the sheet, when I'm clicked on this, if I hit Control Shift and the down key, it selects that entire row. And you see it stops at the end of the data distribution. If you go further than this, you're going to get a non-numeric cell and the program won't know what to do with that. So either when you're selecting your cells, drag that down to the go up here to your top cell and drag that down to include all of your data, or hit Control Shift down button, down arrow, and that will select that data. So I have this data selected for my input range. Now I need to select for my bin range. So I'm going to hit that up arrow, click this 18, and Control Shift down arrow, and I have now my bin range selected. So I still need somewhere for this to go. I need an output. So I am going to click the up arrow for, or actually I need to highlight output range. Otherwise it'll default to a new worksheet, and we don't want it to be on a new worksheet. Although if you put it on a new worksheet page, it's totally fine also. But if I click this up arrow and just click somewhere over here, so I'm clicking on O4, that will highlight for where my output's going to be. Now, when I hit OK for this, it's going to give me the distribution chart. It's going to create a frequency chart, and it's going to show us the graph. But it's not going to show us the graph unless I check chart output. If I don't check chart output, then what I'm going to get is this. So I get my frequency table, but I don't have a graph. And that's because I did not hit my chart output. So I didn't want just that frequency chart. I wanted the graph along with it. So I've gone back and started from a clean worksheet, and we're going to do that same thing again. We're going to hit the Data tab. We're going to hit Data Analysis, and we're going to select histogram. OK. In this input range, click my up arrow. I'm going to click on the first cell of my data. I'm going to hit Control Shift down arrow key, and that's going to select my data range. Then I need my bin range. So I'm going to go back up to the top of the distribution. I'm going to click my up arrow, click the first cell of my bins, Control Shift down arrow key. I've got all of my bins selected. Go back up to the top of the distribution. I'm going to click on output range, click that up arrow, and I'm just going to select a cell. It doesn't matter what it is. I selected O3, but it doesn't matter. It just has to be out of the way of where your data is so it doesn't overlap. And then I'm going to hit chart output, and this time now I've got my frequency distribution, but I also have my histogram for age. I can make this bigger so it's easier to see. And as you can see, I have each of the years individually represented. Now, I don't know why the book does this. You see 88, that's the end of our distribution of bins, but we have a line beyond that because there are two 89-year-old respondents. So this is basically just more. It happens to be 89, but you would get this. This would show you, like, if we had 5 100s, this would be at 5, but it wouldn't tell you what. It would just be more. So I don't know why they stopped the range there. We could have gone to 89 and we would have gotten the same result. But just so that you're not confused, if you see there are a couple of 89s on there, yes, that is represented here as an overflow. That's how the program handles the overflow or underflows. And if they would have given us an 89, that would have been correct. As it is, anything over 88 is going to show up here. So again, I don't know why that is the way that the exercise is set up, but I don't want anybody to be confused about that. Now, as you can see, I've got bin down here. What I want this to say is age, right? So this is histogram. I could change this also. So I could say histogram for age. That would be more correct. And down here on bin, I want to highlight that. Whoops. Sorry about that. Make that age. And now I have, so when this stuff all disappeared, I hit a button that caused this to be erased. So just so you're not confused, I did that by accident. All right, so now I have my histogram for age with my labels all correct, and that is how you create the histogram for age. So you have to create a pie chart for race and a histogram for age. We've covered both of those. Hopefully you won't have any issues being able to create those. If you do have other questions, you can contact me and let me know. If you get something that looks really, really wonky, I may know what you did, I may not know what you did, and so I can't always diagnose those kinds of wonky outputs because sometimes people get outputs that I've not seen before, and so then I don't know what they did. So unless I see the actual process, then I may not be able to answer the question. And a lot of times people want to send me screenshots, say this is what I got. I won't always know how you got that, but if you follow this process, you will get the correct outputs. All right, so if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you again for the tutorial for Module 3.